Welcome to this edition of Biker Angle, episode 727. I'm James Hollywood Machikari. I wanted to start off by addressing the hysteria going on all over the internet highway. It's actually quite humorous if you think about it. We now have the virtual biker world, and then there's the reality. Your virtual world is filled with these social media groups, which sadly take the place of a bar in real life. Before the internet highway, we actually had these things called bars. It was a place where you would go, get a drink, and if you were lucky enough, get a nice honey to take behind the building for a one-night romp. Bars were also a place where you would go to hear the latest happenings in the scene. These bars were also a place where you actually had to ride your scooter. Now, social media groups have taken over. No longer do people get off those keyboards and hop on the scooter to hit the local watering hole to interact. In the present climate, they just jump into the virtual world without even leaving the couch. These social groups allow you to talk all the smack in the world and not have to worry about getting a dotted I or a tooth knocked out. See, in the old days, a person wouldn't dare go into a bar talking smack about a motorcycle club. This is because it was the real world. If you got talking smack in a bar, you would usually be knocked the fuck out. It was easy for a club to get word of who was talking smack and handle business. Not so much on the internet highway. People are now free to spout off about anything and everything without any worries of being held accountable for their stupidity. I guess the internet highway is the ultimate adrenaline rush for a lot of these people. They get to become important on subjects they have no clue about. They get to pound on those keyboards and holler at the top of their lungs without someone knocking them the fuck out. So, where am I going with this? You're probably asking yourself. Last few days I've been seeing all over the internet highway the opinions of the Mongols Motorcycle Club opening up chapters in Texas. This topic has been all over the internet. Every biker-related group has had mentions about it. Then, of course, you had the supporters from both clubs going back and forth with each other. Depending on which side you chose, you had people bashing the Mongols and others the Banditos. It's generally kind of humorous looking at all the comments because you know damn well none of these slime balls would walk up to either club and spout off like that. Serious. Go around to some of these biker sites and groups and look at some of the arguments going on. It will keep you entertained for months, actually, it really would. You know, tomorrow, Madhouse's episode 39, it comes out at 1 o'clock. I kind of give my viewpoint on a conversation piece that was printed by IOTC. I genuinely thought it was a hell of a post. It covered a lot of territory on the hypocrisy of the motorcycle club scene as well as other topics. So, beers up to IOTC for that post. It was a really good conversation piece. Really enjoyed it. And it got people talking. But to give those who are arguing amongst each other a little preview of my thoughts about this subject and many others that were brought up in that post, especially to those who don't know a damn thing about motorcycle clubs. Stop talking shit you have no idea about. Were you involved in these patchovers? Were you involved in any way with the Mongols coming to Texas? Were you? What I thought, no. So, how in the hell do you have an opinion one way or another? Those clubs involved in this whole thing are not out on the internet highway arguing back and forth. No, you just have those arguing that have no skin in the game. Those who think they have a right to an opinion because the internet highway provides one to them. Man, get the fuck out of here with that shit, really. They feel they have a chance to give an opinion on something they don't know. Go figure. So, let's go back to reality for a minute. This is predominantly for those who love to express expert opinions on the shit they have no idea about. The reality I'm talking about is the streets. In other words, what everything comes down to. If you believe for 1 second that mouthing off on the internet is going to change things, you're an idiot and need to go live in your parents' basement until you get some common sense. Again, nothing you say changes anything. Nothing you say will ever change anything on the streets. So why go on the internet highway and make a fool out of yourselves? Unless you're wearing a patch of those clubs involved, your opinion is laughable at best. You know, it's easy as hell to spot those people on the internet highway who has no idea how the streets work. Just the way they present their half-baked arguments give them away. Here's a news flash for those ass monkeys giving opinions. The streets are survival of the fittest. Nothing more and nothing less than exactly that. The strongest win and the weakest lose. It's all a big chess game on the streets. So, with this in mind, what do you actually think your opinions will change about the whole situation? Like it's any of your business in the first place. But what will they change? Is it just a way for you to burn oxygen or get off because you're some freak or some shit? Seriously, what the hell do you care what is happening between two motorcycle clubs if you don't have skin in the game? This whole thing is reasonably simply if you got a half a brain. If one club does not like the other being somewhere, the other club will handle their business as they see fit. You notice I said their. It sure the hell won't be your ass out there handling anything. You've got more pressing matters to attend to on the internet highway, like calling the shots over the internet and hoping someone will listen to your dumbass opinions. This while the actual members do things the way they want to. That's okay, isn't it? The people are actually the members of the club undertaking what they think best. That's a novel ideal there, isn't it? People actually involved in the situation doing what's best in their club's interest without a bunch of nobodies trying to inform them what they should or shouldn't do. Writing and talking about this piece, I had a laugh for a second. I must have received hundreds of emails seeking why I decided to go to the current format on Insane Throttle of just talking about the independent scene. First off, the drama has been reduced tenfold. But the other reason was that I actually felt like opinion pieces like this help propagate a conversation that was no one's business. What I mean by that is simple. Bringing issues clubs are facing on the streets to the forefront actually enabled people I'm talking about in this article. I've always looked at it as news, what Insane Throttle put out there. But here's the absolute truth of the matter. People who were reading the articles didn't take it as news. They took it as an invitation to chime in on something that was none of their business. Those opinions started to have an effect on what was happening on the streets. Something I never intended to do. It was news, people. Nothing more, nothing less. It was there so people could be informed on what was happening in the biker scene. Now, I'm not ignorant. I recognize people will express opinions on subjects in the news, but I never thought it would get to the level of drama of a senior year in high school. For those who do not recognize or comprehend anything about the streets, it's a life and death situation out there when you get into a game of chess between two clubs. There are so many developing parts to a story that only those involved in the situation can know. Reporting on the happenings is most likely only 0.5% of what is really going on. Yes, Insane Throttle utilizes contacts in all the big clubs to report the news. But it's only a fraction of what's really happening on the streets. Most of the time, we get, it's off the record, which means we will not print the information given to us. With that in mind, you only get some of the information. You cannot take some of the information without having it all and go out there acting like you're some expert on something that we've reported on or another biker news site reported on or you've seen in the headlines. That old saying, don't believe anything you hear and only half of what you see, that saying's dead on. I observe it all the time with some of these groups having subjects on one club or another. Or they have some subjects on one person or another. 99.9% of the time, the subject matter is dead wrong. First off, none of the key clubs will barely talk with any of the media. Certainly, you have leaks and off-the-record information. But again, at least with Insane Throttle anyways, that off-the-record conversation will never make it anywhere to print or to the public. So this puts the clubs at a disadvantage because their side of the story never comes out. Therefore, leaving a vacuum for idiots who have no idea what they are talking about to cause more issues for them. So, just a word to the wise. The above quote is dead on, and before jumping into a conversation, make sure you actually know what the hell you're talking about. Because most of what you read in these groups are dead wrong. It's not reality at all. So, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this instead of just presenting the news? Yeah, I know. If you're just focusing on independence, then why write about something happening in the motorcycle club scene? My reason is straightforward. You have two major clubs doing their thing, and now you have so much misinformation and chatter happening in all these groups, it generates unwelcome attention. It also can inflame tensions if there is any of that stuff. I said if. Therefore, don't take that shit out of context. If you're ignorant, you might know this. Or you might not. The governments of just not the United States, but also that of other countries, watch a lot of these biker groups to gain intel. If you're a club supporter, then you're sure the hell not helping the clubs by running off at the mouth. It actually brings more attention to them when the chatter gets thick. Bikers are sometimes their worst enemies. We complain about the government all the time, but it's our own actions that let them into our business. This is most prevalent when we help them on these stupid-ass social media groups. Take the arguments going back and forth right now about the Mongols moving in Texas. The intel the government has gained in social media groups on what's happening probably has the bastards jerking off in front of their monitors right now. They have so many leads to pursue without barely leaving their fucking office. They don't have to perform the work because our dumbasses provide them some of the stuff that in the old days would take months to get. Now, they possess it within a few hours of merely monitoring the groups. At least make the jagoffs work for everyone. Don't just hand them the shit on a silver platter, really, man. Do I think do I think anything I'm saying will change anything? Fuck no. It's going to be the same shit day in and day out because people don't have a half a brain to see the big picture. The arguments will go back and forth by the club supporters and those who think they have a right to an opinion. It's human nature to be a bunch of ass monkeys when it comes to something that don't concern people. In the meantime, those very people who say they support clubs will only harm them out of their ignorance. After all, it won't be them having to fight it out, do the time, or worse yet, sitting 6 feet under, if it ever got that serious. Nope. They will be visiting the next social media group, carrying on what others live in the real world. So, that's the biker angle for this morning. That's just my opinion on everything that's going on. Tune in to Motorcycle Madhouse tomorrow. It's episode 39. And you'll hear more opinions and stuff like that as far as the IOTC piece. I really enjoyed that piece. So, again, hats off to them for printing that and getting the conversation going. So, don't forget to go over and like us on Facebook and also visit us on Twitter and all our social media accounts. Our YouTube channel, we're finally getting going. Like you see, we're getting out there daily and trying to get the material out to you guys. So, with that, you guys stay safe, be happy, get drunk, get laid, do your thing.